hoped to film a trip on the Pony Express today, but as you can see, snowing and cloud cover. The cloud cover is really the issue here. I wouldn't be able to show any of the scenery, wouldn't be able to show wild horses possibly. Usually you see those out there, or even the wildflowers. It's for those of you that have never done the Pony Express. There are just, if you do it in the springtime, April time frame, you can find just endless seas of purple wildflowers. It's a beautiful place. So hopefully in the future we can do that trip. In the meantime, we did get a little upgrade on the Jeep, and I'll show you that here. We decided to go with a Artec Industries bed rack because of the weight. It's 50 pounds total, 49 pounds actually, and last night I started installing this bed rack, and I had hoped to put these Rotex packs on there, but I ran out of time. Now, some of you might be thinking, it's a lot of extra fuel you got there. And some of you might be wondering the fuel mileage that we get in this Jeep. So, first off, I wouldn't say that I do anything necessarily to conserve gas. I don't necessarily drive concerned about how much gas I'm using. I also don't necessarily, I wouldn't say I have a heavy foot or speed too much or accelerate faster than I should. So it's probably just a real fair assessment of what the gas mileage gets. So this Jeep, 538 gears, 40-inch tires, and just normal driving around town, trails, freeway, city, you name it, get about 13 miles per gallon. And so on the Pony Express I had loaded up with some extra fuel just to have peace of mind that I wouldn't have to worry about it, or, you know, if someone else needed fuel, we'd have that for them. But hopefully we'll get out and we'll film this Pony Express some later date. Get out, enjoy the land of the free. Okay, since we couldn't make it out to the Pony Express, I've decided to take a little side trip over to Stansbury Island. The geography of Stansbury Island kind of makes it unique, and that's I stopped right here on the side of the highway to get a shot of this and show you why it can be an interesting destination. Okay, so what you can see over there in the distance is Grantsville, and you can see up close, try to zoom in there, the shoreline and how low the snow has come. But if we turn over here, you can see on Stansbury Island that there is no snow. Although the top portion is covered in cloud, the snow line hasn't come down nearly as far, or at all. There's no snow on it, as these mountains just across the way. Okay, as we make our way out to Stansbury Island, I wanted to stop and show you the Morton Salt Factory. And we'll see between the freeway and the island a bunch of their evaporation ponds where they extract the salt from the Great Salt Lake. And so either the table salt that you're using to season your food, or salt that you could be using on your driveway, a lot of that comes right here out of the Great Salt Lake. This is one of Morton Salt, their salt factories. Okay, so these are some of the evaporation pools that they will pump the water into from the Great Salt Lake, and as the water evaporates, it leaves behind the salt that then they can collect. Okay, so Stansbury Island is pretty great for a couple of reasons. First, as we talked about before, in the wintertime there just isn't snow here like there is in other places. Even as you get up the mountain a little ways, the snow line is much higher. So Stansbury Island provides a awesome opportunity to get out and go camping in the wintertime, or go mountain biking where you don't want to deal with the snow. Granted, it's still going to be cold, but there's not going to be snow around. And the other thing it does is, besides the outdoor camping, mountain biking, trail running type of thing, is a lot of people come out here to shoot. Unfortunately, what that means is there can be a lot of trash left around. So shooters, please pick up your targets, pick up your shells or bullet casings, and be a good steward, as we mentioned before in our other video. But one of the other things I really enjoy about Stansbury Island is that it's just off of the beaten path. I get a kick out of going places that other people generally don't go, and everybody kind of has to, you got to go to the tourist attractions and knock those off of your bucket list, but it's great to see places that most people don't see. Okay, as we continue on, we got some really neat pictures of a causeway going across the Great Salt Lake, and you could see a division in the water, one side being a little bit more red. It has kind of a reddish hue, and the other side being a little bit more blue. Now that red is caused by a bacteria that flourishes when the salt increases, or when the salt levels rise in that water. And as you notice, the northern side of the Great Salt Lake had that red hue. I wonder, or would speculate, that the southern side didn't, because of the salt that would be extracted by the Morton salt plant there. And probably there are other companies that extract salt there as well. And also in the Great Salt Lake, it's too salty for fish, but brine shrimp thrive. The cold temperatures of the fall and winter cause the brine shrimp to produce dormant cysts, and in good conditions these cysts will come together and form what looks like an oil slick on the top of the water. So interestingly enough, you'll get airplanes. Now, there will be a lot of airplanes that will come and fly over the top of the Great Salt Lake looking for these oil slicks, and then they'll have boats on the water, and the airplanes will guide these boats. Since the airplanes have a bird's eye perspective, they will guide the boats to the oil slick, and then the boats harvest these eggs, if you will, floating eggs, thousands of floating eggs, and they make things like fish food out of them. One more thing that I should mention about this road that takes you out to the point, I believe it's called Boulder Point at the north end of Stansbury Island, is that both sides of the road are private property. And so it's important that you stay on the road, and there are a lot of signs to let you know that. The problem is that at every little side road that goes left or right, they have another sign: private property, no trespassing. And they're not pointed to the side, like don't drive off the road. They're pointed on the road, like from this sign forward you can't go any further. And it's not the case, but it's very misleading. So I assure you that if you stay on the main road, all the way north. The first sign explains that. If you stay on the main road, you're good to go, and it will get you up to this interactive trail walk. Okay, so this is one of those misleading signs that makes you believe that following this road would be trespassing. But in fact, what it's referring to is the side road right behind it, as it goes that way. But it seems to me that instead of the sign facing this way, it ought to be facing this way, so that if I were to come up this road and turn, then it would say no trespassing. But they've got them faced this way, which makes me believe you can't go any further on this road, and that's just not the case. Okay, we've made it down to the shoreline here, the northern end of Stansbury Island. And you know, it really does feel like a little bit like the ocean. Got some nice sand and some waves coming in. And then there's a bunch of seagulls. Seagull is a Utah state bird, so they're out here squawking a little bit, or they were. And sorry about the wind, it was a little bit windy. Okay, here at the northern end of the island, you have a interpretive walk. This little trail they've prepared. They've got signs that tell you about the history of the Great Salt Lake and Lake Bonneville. Now, for those of you that aren't from around here or that don't know, the Great Salt Lake is the remnants of a prehistoric lake called Lake Bonneville. And so all of the mountains around, we talked about it before, the snow level, is when I was talking about the snow level, I mentioned the shoreline, the Bonneville shoreline, and that can be found in the mountains all around the Great Salt Lake. And that was where, what would you call it, scarring the Lake Bonneville left its scar where the lake level was, and you can see that worn into the mountainside. So all through the Salt Lake Valley, you've got the shoreline trail, a hiking and biking trail that goes around Salt Lake at the level of the shoreline. And these placards and this trail talk about some of that history. It's a real neat place to explore. Probably fun for the kids. Bring them out and learn some of the history of this place. Okay, I think this will conclude our journey for today. Get off the beaten path. Get out and enjoy the land of the free. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Okay, adventure's actually not over. Found this 4x4 trail, and we're gonna go check it out. Also, there's a bunch of people down here below us, right here in the background, that are shooting, and that's kind of unnerving. So we'll get on the move.